Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Objectives. I am in the Gallery of Photography, and today I'm talking to Darren Campion. So Darren, you studied photography in the Institute of Art and Design in Dunleary. What brought you to writing about photography?
So I think criticism is a very practical business. It's not asking what it's about as such, although you do think about that. It's what is this work doing? Yeah. What context is it doing it in? Like the other question is it worth doing? I don't know, but that is what criticism is to me. It's what is the work doing?
Yeah.
What is there in the work is what the pictures are of, and how the pictures are showing you something. What it's doing as a work of art. Yeah. And those are the questions I try to ask. And I think if people come to art photography and it seems very inaccessible, if they say, well, what is it doing? How am I being shown something in the picture? I think that's a good place to start. It's talking about criticism in the abstract is very difficult. Mm-hmm. It's much easier if you can just show how you do it, in a way. So I have this book here. It's called Before, During, After, Almost by David Farrell. Now it functions. It's not really a catalogue, but it functions as a catalogue for an exhibition of the same name that was in the OHA last year. And even before you kind of know anything about the work, or even what context it is, you can just look at it directly and kind of see. So if you're going through it, you'll notice, for example, that there are pictures made at different times, in different places, in different styles as well. Yeah. And I think, you would assume that it's kind of retrospective. But if you look again at the work, you'll see that it's not in any particular chronological order. It's not engaged, it's not organized thematically. Mm-hmm. So it's not a retrospective in the classical sense. So you might assume then it is a body of work in its own right, based upon, in first instance, looking back at a photographer's own career, but also about the history of a particular time and place. And if you refer to this sheet at the back, you'll see that the pictures are made at different times, and it gives you some idea of the period of time that the book covers. Okay. And looking then at the way the book is designed, you can see inside the front and back covers there are two images. The first one is of this, the front of the GPO with the tricolour over it. So obviously, it's kind of setting the scene for us. Okay. Telling us what terrain the book is going to engage with. And the style of the picture is very particular as well. So it's black and white, it's grainy, it's of this kind of borderline between documentary and expressive black and white photography. And if you go to the back then, because this kind of motif continues, you can see this very different style of picture, which is flashlit color. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's medium format film. It's very detailed. So it kind of on the one hand it tells us where the book is. It's between these two poles, if you like, of this very iconic symbol of Irishness and this idea of this is a piece of graffiti. So one side it says trick and truth. So they're being kind of intertwined or overlapped, as to how kind of easily one can become the other. I mean? It's framing this idea of Irishness in a particular way within the body of work. Yeah. So that is one thing. You might not pick up on that at first, but as you go through the work, you'll see how it all ties together. And obviously, nothing arrives just as it is. So there's an introduction in the book. There's an interview with the artist. It gives you a key to how the work is. And going through it, then you will see that there are, different subjects and different styles as well. So the shift in style is important too, I think, in this particular work, but also in any work. Look at how the pictures are articulating their subject. Yeah. So is the picture, what kind of atmosphere does the picture convey, if you know what I mean? So some of the pictures like this one, for example, they're very formal and they're very detailed. So that there's that aspect to this particular body of work, and that is telling you what relationship the viewer is into the subject as well. And in the book as well, there are a lot of repeated motifs. Okay. So I think it's good for a viewer or a critic, anybody approaching the work, just to pay attention to what the pictures are, first of all, obviously. Now in this case, for example, there's this Republican monument in Glasnevin. Mm-hmm. So this picture is made sometime in the early 90s, and you can see it's a very sort of brooding kind of picture. The monument itself is not very well maintained. You can see it's kind of run down in a sense. And it has on it this quotation from a poem by Yeats called Easter 1916, and it's actually a misquotation. You might not realize that at first, but when the picture is repeated later on in the book, you will see it has been changed. So drawing attention to that change signals to the viewer something about the way we imagine Irishness and our relationship to our own history as a kind of mythology, you know. And I think what this book, because all the pictures are made in Ireland and they all work in a similar fashion, they're about engaging with the particular ideas of Irishness and the, if you like, the failures to manifest those ideals. If you look at how the pictures are put on the page as well, that's very, I think, Photobooks especially, but it also applies to exhibitions, the way the work is laid out. So that's a key to the meaning of the work as well. And it's a guide to, that's not just to look nice. You know, it's a guide to help you interpret the pictures or to navigate the work. So this particular book, it's a very nicely designed book actually and produced. The pictures are offset to the edge of the page, so it gives this sense of forward momentum to the work. You know what I mean? Not all the pictures are like that, but it does, with the smaller pictures, for example, it does, by pushing them to the edge, it brings you forward in the work, you know?
It's not an individual statement. He wants the audience to continue into the book deeper and deeper.
You know, the important thing I think with a lot of work, especially with this work, is that it's a body of work. It's not about making amazing individual pictures. It's, you know, it's what you want to communicate as a whole, you know. And
which is the presence of nearly every photo book that's been produced today.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it is. I think that's the but I think that's the important thing for people to remember coming from outside art photography, is that you're not just looking for one good picture. You're looking for a body of work that can sustain meaning across the whole work. You know. Here's another example. So here's one shot that's a picture of a phone number on a wall, and we see it later on again. It's the same wall, but the number is, you know, steadily effaced. You know, it's being obscured. And if we consult the text, the captions, we'll see that it's an abortion information helpline in the early 90s. So important theme in this work, you can see it throughout, is these references to the decline of Catholicism in Ireland. So, you know, with abortion in particular, it's I think a struggle that's still ongoing. But the way he kind of introduces that is very subtle. You know what I mean? It's this idea of something being effaced, or information being obscured or hidden. That is a very important theme in his work, but also a theme in Irish history. You know what I mean? The way particular uncomfortable ideas are just brushed under the carpet. But I think the important thing to take away from, you know, it's this very brief introduction to how to criticize is, you know, just engage with what the work is doing and how it's showing you something. But if you have some idea of where to start, it makes it much easier. Like, there's no formula for criticism. There's no blanket approach that's going to work for everything, because every work is, and it should be, different. But
and how you're going to perceive it is also going to be different for each person.
For each person, exactly. You know, everybody's coming from a different place. So if you are attentive to how the work is presented, to what it's doing, to how it shows you something. One of the things that criticism can be useful for, and what I try to do, is, you know, to give some idea of the context the artist is working in. And I think that's useful for people coming outside of photography, or people who are just interested in photography, to have some idea of. So thank you very much, Darren. That was very informative. So I'd like to thank Darren Campion for talking to us today about his approach to looking at photographs and writing about them. You can find more of his writings on his blog. His web address is darrencampion.com.